Mrs. Froh.
Thank you. And we have the one action item, Dr. Negron, who's going to lead that discussion.
So good afternoon, everybody. To lead this discussion today, I have invited Michelle Bonanno, who has been working really, really hard on this grant, to be able to present it for us today.
Thank you.
Dr. Negron. Thank you, members of the board, for taking the time out tonight to have this special meeting. So I'm sharing my screen. Can everyone see the presentation? Good. Okay, great. So what we have here this evening is the Magnet School Assistance Program grant opportunity. So back in April, the board approved, thank you for that, a grant writer to support the New Haven Public Schools in applying for this opportunity. So the Magnet School Assistance Program grant is a pot of funding that comes out of the U.S. Department of Education. So when we think about magnet schools, in Connecticut, often we think about interdistrict magnet schools, which were born out of the Sheff versus O'Neill statutory requirements in the Hartford region. There are two ways that magnet schools get funded. One in Connecticut, obviously, is through the interdistrict magnet program, but across the country, magnet schools are created through the Magnet School Assistance Program, which is funded by the U.S. Department of Education. The New Haven Public Schools has been the recipient of over $100 million of Magnet School Assistance Program funding over the past 20 years. We've been very successful and have often leveraged the MSAP funding to help to start a new magnet school or a new interdistrict magnet school. So we have used it as seed money to get a school off the ground. The MSAP seeks to reduce minority group isolation by funding projects in LEAs or consortia of LEAs that propose to implement magnet schools with academically challenging, innovative instructional approaches or specialized curriculum designed to bring students from different social, emotional, ethnic, and racial backgrounds together. So as you know, the New Haven Public Schools participates in the state's interdistrict magnet program. Currently, we are operating 15 interdistrict magnet schools across the district. In order to operate an interdistrict magnet school, you must meet the statutory requirements and the commissioner's standards for doing so, which means that 75% of the total school enrollment must come from a single participating district. In our case, that is the New Haven Public Schools, and the other 25% must come from the surrounding suburban participating districts. In addition to a residency standard, which I just described, each magnet school is charged with reducing the minority groups within the school. And so trying to diversify schools that are highly segregated with bringing in suburban students who are from different backgrounds. So what I'm asking of the board tonight is to support the MSAP competition to significantly revise 3 of our current interdistrict magnet schools who are already operating under the Connecticut statute for interdistrict magnet schools. Those 3 schools are Betsy Ross Arts Magnet School, Hill Regional Career High School, and Metropolitan Business Academy. As part of our application, we are asking the board to support a change in their academic program to make it more rigorous, to adopt an academy design and a career pathway plan that supports each academy. So at Betsy Ross, it will become a Betsy Ross Arts and Design Academy. At Hill Regional Career, we will have Hill Regional Career Health and Business Interdistrict Magnet School. And Metropolitan Business Academy will just become Metropolitan Academy, as it will offer 4 distinct career academies for students to obtain different career certifications, concurrent enrollment, etc. So the reason that these 3 schools were selected is because each year after October 1, which is the state's cutoff for enrollment, the state of Connecticut checks against the October 1 count to see how well schools are doing with the statutory requirements. And so what we know about Betsy Ross Career and Metropolitan currently, as of October 1, is each of these schools were out of compliance and required to submit a compliance plan to the commissioner for approval so that our funding is fully released. What you see on the screen in front of you is the percentages that each of these schools fell on the October 1 count. So for reduced isolation, that is the standard that has to do with the amount of students that are not Black or Hispanic in each school, they're at 12%, 11.1%, and 13.3%. Obviously, as I stated before, the standard for that is 25%. So these schools are out of compliance. When it comes to residency, you'll see that Betsy Ross is under the 75%. Hill Regional Career is slightly over, and Metropolitan is right where it's supposed to be. If it moves in by one student, that would take them out of compliance with the state. One thing I'd like for the board to know and understand is that the New Haven delegation worked very hard a few years back to waive the financial fine that comes to districts when we are out of compliance. And they have also gotten the state to exhaust the residency, a financial fine for reduced isolation. When it comes to residency, because of COVID, there was a waiver put in place that expires at the end of the year. So currently, we could be under the circumstances that if we don't do something at these schools, we could face financial penalty if the residency standard is not met. So back to the MSAP competition. So we'd like to leverage these funds for MSAP to address the compliance issues by providing a more rigorous program to all of the students who attend these schools. And so at Betsy Ross, what you'll see is that there will be 2 academies offered at that school that students will select from at the end of grade 9. And that's the Academy of Performing Arts, which will include a pathway for entertainers and performers and visual arts and communications. And then the Academy of Arts and Design, media design, and special effects and animation will be offered to our students. On the other side, you see a list of committed partners. So anybody here tonight that is listed as a committed partner has been in conversation throughout the planning with the New Haven Public Schools, has provided a letter of support, has talked with the teams at each of these schools who we've been planning with. I do want to take a moment to thank Dana Natalino, who's been instrumental in helping to realize the superintendent's vision around college and career pathways and expanding concurrent enrollment opportunities. We are using this grant to do that and to address that. At Hill Regional Career, we're expanding what is currently in place for the nursing program to have a broader health and science offering where students will be able to obtain EMT certifications, CNA certification, phlebotomy certification. We'll be expanding a forensic science pathway there in partnership with the University of New Haven. We also will have the business and technology track, which will provide students with the opportunity to take concurrent enrollment classes at Southern and obtain up to 30 college credits before graduation. And lastly, at Metropolitan, we will have 4 smaller academies enrolling about up to 25 new 9th graders each year. So what you see on the screen are the 4 academies. I want to draw your attention to the Education and Leadership Academy. So again, as part of expanding the pipeline for the teacher shortage, this would be a brand new program offered at Metro to bring additional students. We've been in conversations with different partners around this, Southern Connecticut, getting our students access to getting para-pro tests, et cetera, while they are in high school. So the last slide goes over the main components and the tenets, which I presented to each of you this evening. For what the DSEG plan is. So as you know, because this is a desegregation grant, we sort of have to name the strategies that we are going to use in order to try to attract more students of different backgrounds to each school. And so again, this talks about the reduced isolation, the interdistrict magnets. We would be having dedicated whole school magnets, so every child within these programs would be participating. We'd be having focused recruitment efforts, which we currently do, but we'd be able to strengthen those with additional funding. The significant revision to each of these magnet schools to make them more rigorous. And I just am scanning to make sure I said it all. And that's the crux of the application. This slide is the proposed budget. So it shows you by category what we are asking for funding each year of the grant. The cap at the end of 5 years is $15 million. And so some items that are covered here under personnel, we'd have dedicated magnet resource teachers in each of these schools to support this programming. At the district level, we would be hiring an internship and workforce development advisor who would help support the students by the time they got to 12th grade with matching them with internship in collaboration with some of our committed partners. We have some travel there. So each year, if you are MSAP funded, you are required to attend the project directors meeting in Washington, D.C. A team from each school is required to attend. And so that is what that travel line would cover. Equipment would be some technology, new computers, whiteboards, et cetera, to support the student learning in the classroom. Supplies for project-based learning, which would be one of the academic interventions that we would be adopting whole school. Contractual cover, some of the partners that were listed that would be supporting students in some of the workforce development. For example, Yale Center for EMS, which would certify our students to be EMTs at the end, would be paid from the contractual line. And then some other equipment covers some software, digital software licenses, et cetera. Indirect cost, I'm sure you all know, is the cost that is paid back to the district for the implementation of this grant. So at this point, I am through the full presentation and would be happy to take questions.
Questions or comments? Mr. Wilcox?
Just really quick, yes, thank you for the presentation, and just wanted to, if you could just spend a minute or two talking about some of the planning that's happened in the schools, how the school staff and the teachers and the administrators have been involved in this. I know you already mentioned some with the partners that have been part of it, but I'm just kind of interested in how that looks in the district.
Certainly. So as soon as we understood that there was a funding opportunity that may have become available, I had a meeting with Dr. Negron to talk about the potential of this planning. And thankfully, she gave us the go-ahead to start doing this work far in advance of an RFP, et cetera. So since February, I've been meeting with the leadership teams at each school to talk through what they could imagine for these themes. And they were very excited because, as you know, our resources are limited. And so we have lots of dreams about things that we want to do, and we've been piecemealing things together to do that. So there was a tremendous amount of excitement from the leadership teams at each school. Again, I do want to thank Dina, who attended all of those meetings with me and sort of taught me a lot that I did not know about concurrent enrollment and partnerships, et cetera. She's been instrumental in supporting this process. And many of the schools, she had already been starting these conversations. So as the superintendent came in and we started hearing more about her vision for high school programming, it felt like it was a right fit for us and a good opportunity. And so that has gone on. The schools participated in providing text for their school descriptions and what their overall plans are going to be. They were involved in letting me know some of the budget items that they might have been excited about or things that would be helpful. There was conversations about partners that they were interested in working with. So this went on all through February and March. The RFP posted on March 14th. We put out an RFP to the through Bonfire for an RFP for a grant writer. Brought that in front of the board in the middle of April. And so we've just been kicking and punching and working and all of that. So I've been very excited about the enthusiasm from the schools though.
You. Any further questions or comments? Mr. Wilcox?
Yeah, just saying if there's no more questions or comments, I'd be happy to make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Wilcox. I don't see any questions or comments.
All right, and please correct me, Attorney Alexiadis, if we need more than this, but I move that we approve the resolution that authorizes submission of the Magnet Schools Assistant Program application for these three schools, and that also that we allow the superintendent or her designee to sign and transmit these applications and follow whatever process is needed.
Second. President Rivera, you're muted.
course I am. Thank you, Dr. Joyner, Mr. Wilcox. Attorney Alexiadis?
Yes, thank you, and it's nice to see you all. I would just recommend that you go with that you follow the written proposed resolution that's included with the board materials for tonight. I believe that Mr. Wilcox just correctly summarized it, but you should be sure to adopt the specific language so that that written resolution may be included with the materials that Ms. Bonanno will be submitting this week.
Mr. Wilcox?
Okay, so you're saying I should just read the whole thing?
Um,
I'm happy to do so. I
I don't-
withdraw, Madam President, I withdraw my motion.
I think that all
Thank
you
you,
need to do.
Mr. Wilcox. Dr. Joyner, do you, hold on, Mr. Attorney Alexiadis, do you withdraw the second, Dr. Joyner?
If there's some legal issue here, I thought it was a great motion.
Thank you, Dr. Joyner. Go ahead, Attorney Alexiadis.
I don't think you need to read the whole motion. I just think you need to refer to it. I mean, refer to the resolution in your motion as a motion to adopt the written resolution. I mean, you can do it either way.
I will do it and make it extremely clear that I am referring to the written resolution that's included as the meeting materials and cited on our agenda. How's that?
A point of order, Madam Chair.
Dr. Joyner?
If you're gonna do that, wouldn't he have to read the entire written thing? I mean, I actually thought the first motion was right on. And I don't want to prolong the meeting, so, but go ahead, read the motion.
All right, Madam President, I move that we approve the written motion, the written resolution that was included as on the agenda and in the meeting materials for this meeting. And this resolution resolves that the board authorizes the submission of the Magnet Schools Assistant Program application for the 3 schools, Betsy Ross, Hill Regional Career, and Metropolitan Business Academy, and that this resolution also resolves that the superintendent or her designee is authorized to sign and transmit the district's Magnet School Assistant Program application materials.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wilcox. Dr. Joyner, any discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote to approve that motion. Mr. Wilcox,
Yes.
Dr. Joyner,
Yes.
Dr. Yarborough,
Yes.
Dr. Benitez,
Yes.
Ms. Downer,
Yes.
Mayor Elicker,
Yes.
and I am a yes as well. And so that item carries. That was the only item on our agenda, and so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
Madam
moved.
Chair, I motion to adjourn.
And
Thank you, Dr. Joyner and Dr. Benitez, Mr. Wilcox. Mr. Wilcox,
Yes.
Dr. Joyner,
Yes.
Dr. Benitez,
yes.
Ms. Downer,
Yes.
Dr. Yarborough,
Yes.
Mayor Elicker,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. And so that item passes. Good night, everyone, and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good night and go Knicks.